The story of Adam and Eve in Genesis 2-3 reveals itself not as ancient mythology, but as a profound allegory for the evolution of human consciousness. A psychological and spiritual masterpiece encoded with wisdom about our eternal struggle between innocence and self-awareness, between divine connection and human ambition. Picture the Garden of Eden not as a physical location but as a state of pure being, a consciousness so unified with creation that no separation between self and world exists. Adam, formed from the red earth, Adamah in Hebrew, represents the physical embodiment of this divine connection, while Eve, Chava, life or living one, symbolizes the animating force that propels consciousness forward. Their union is the perfect balance of form and energy, being and becoming, existing in harmonious relationship with their environment where every need is met without labor. The famous tree of knowledge of good and evil stands at the center of the garden not as a test but as an inevitable threshold of consciousness development. The paradox that to remain in childlike innocence is divine, but to taste self-awareness is human. The serpent, often vilified, actually serves as the catalyst for evolution when it whispers, "You will be like God, knowing good and evil." This isn't temptation toward sin but the irresistible pull toward duality, the birth of discernment, moral consciousness, and ultimately, free will. When Eve eats the fruit and shares it with Adam, it marks humanity's irreversible step from unconscious unity into self-aware separation, what psychologists might call the dawn of ego development. The immediate awareness of their nakedness symbolizes this new self-consciousness, the uncomfortable birth of the observing mind that stands apart from experience. God's response, casting them from Eden to till the ground from which Adam was taken, reveals the story's deepest truth. What appears as punishment is actually the necessary condition for growth. The fall isn't a moral failure but an evolutionary leap. Now begins the human journey of self-discovery through struggle, creativity through labor, and wisdom through suffering. The flaming sword guarding Eden's entrance doesn't block return. It illuminates the truth that we can't unknow what we've learned. Our path forward lies in integrating this knowledge rather than longing for lost innocence. This story pulses with contemporary relevance. We all live in the tension between our Edenic longing for effortless connection and our human drive to explore, create, and know. The serpent still speaks through our restless curiosity, our technologies that promise godlike knowledge, our medicines that extend life. The forbidden fruit manifests today as artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, and all forms of knowledge that simultaneously empower and alienate us from natural rhythms. Our expulsion continues as climate change forces us to confront the consequences of knowledge without wisdom. Yet the story holds its greatest secret in what's often overlooked. God makes garments of skin for Adam and Eve before sending them forth. Even in their fallen state, the divine presence clothes them with protection and dignity. This subtle act reveals the story's ultimate message, that our human journey of struggle and self-discovery isn't opposed to the divine but is itself sacred. The path out of the garden isn't away from God but toward the full realization of our creative potential, to become not just innocent children in paradise but conscious co-creators of reality. The Genesis narrative thus transforms from a story of original sin to one of original challenge, the perpetual human condition of straddling two worlds, the unity we come from and the complexity we move toward. Our task isn't to regain lost innocence, but to earn wisdom that comprehends both the garden and the world beyond its walls. In this light, Adam and Eve aren't disobedient children, but the brave first ancestors who chose consciousness over comfort. And in doing so, began the most magnificent experiment in the universe, the human journey.